Welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris. Today we're going to be talking about the book The 1 Minute Manager by Robert G. Allen and Mark Weiss Hansen. It's really all about a book is fast-tracking your possibility towards becoming a millionaire. What I really like about the book is it's very short. You actually can read it potentially in a 24-hour period. But yeah, it's very fast-tracked, very set out in order to basically talk about skill sets and character changes that you can make and adapt into your day-to-day life in order to increase your chances of becoming successful. The first basic trait that he talks about is that givers get. Selfish people end up never becoming millionaires, and the reason that is, if you look at amongst every other millionaire, every other successful person out there, they're the people that initially gave the most. So he talks about how there's a reason why the rich become richer and why the rich get so much free stuff. It's because initially they are the most charitable. The givers get. What you get out, what you put in. The next thing that it talks about is tap into your genius. If you guys have ever heard the quote, work in the thing that you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life, well, they talk about basically you can understand what it is that you want and fall in love with the result and basically learn to love the thing that you have to do in order to become successful. A lot of people do. It's awesome if you can basically work in the thing that you do learn to love, but for the people who don't have that opportunity, learn to love the result. What is it that you're looking to accomplish out of life, and love the process. Fall in love with the thing that's going to get you there. The next thing he talks about is general communication. Every successful person chooses their words carefully. They're always very polite, very withheld. They don't try to do their best to offend unless it's necessary. The next thing he talks about basically understanding the love and understanding what it is that you need to do in order to become successful. You need to ask yourself questions, the big questions. Why are you here? What's your purpose? What is the things that you want to change and the impact that you want to leave around the people around you and leave your mark on society? If you can understand these things, it'll help your choices make better actions towards achieving the things that you do want out of life. The next thing he talks about is that the easiest way to become successful, and something that all successful people do, is a concept called leverage. Now, there are 5 different types of leverage: money, experience, ideas, time, and work. Money, experience, ideas, time, and work. All successful people leverage their money. So if you can utilize either your money, someone else's, in order to become successful, that's one thing. The next one is time. Time being one of the most valuable commodities, right? If you can utilize someone else's time in order to compound with yours, of course you're going to become more successful. So on and so on and so on. The next part is experience, understanding mentorship. If you don't know how to do someone, hire someone who does. There's a really great example that 155 IQ, which is the general IQ of Bill Gates, right? If you don't have that 150 IQ, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful, because you always have the opportunity to leverage someone who does. So leverage is really one of those great concepts that, if you're not in the success world or you're not in the business world, some people are a little bit scared of it because they're sort of they're connected to using people or manipulating people. The truth is that the highest companies in the world, the most successful people in the world, all leverage something or all 5 of those aspects in order to become successful. And if you want to be successful, you have to adapt and learn how to leverage. It's one of the biggest, most effective ways in order to become successful, especially in a fast-track way. The next thing, it relates to experience. Find a mentor. Find a mentor. We as humans have the ability to basically learn through trial and failure, but more so than any other organism on the planet is that we can learn through another organism's trial and error. Utilize the fast track experience from a mentor in order for them to give you the teachings and allow you to overcome the challenges without actually putting yourself into them. For example, how many people have to look both ways before they cross a road? Well, the reason that is because you've learned from someone else. So if you could apply that in the business world or general success world, of course you're going to fast track your results towards getting what it is that you want. The next thing is about leveraging and applying a proven system. There's a quote that goes, you never want to be the first person to try something, but you also never want to be never be the last, right? Always understand that there are basically opportunities and systems out there that you can specifically leverage in order to basically become successful. Once again, it goes back to learning through someone else's trial and error versus going it through yourself. Whether you're trying to start a business in e-commerce or a traditional business through traditional sense, there's always a blueprint that you can follow, apply, and make slight changes towards your product or the service that you're providing in order to fast track your success. In fact, that's why a lot of people utilize in franchising. Whenever you have a franchising opportunity, you actually don't necessarily buy a business per se, but you buy a system, you buy a training system, you buy a track record of proven results that can create you an additional income without having you to go through the failure. Whether it's Subway, whether it's McDonald's, the best part about these systems is the fact that they're automated. You can always expect to get a certain result out of them because they have trialed, tested, whether it's a training system, whether all the products and services in order to get the business up and running off the ground, or all the part of the expenses. So therefore, nothing should surprise you. Now, the only downside to something like franchising is that it would generally cost a lot more money than a traditional business. However, the more money that you put in, the higher chance that you have at making more. The next one it talks about is that serendipity. Serendipity is one of those words that's fancy for basically meaning that understanding that there's something you can learn in every situation. No matter how good, no matter how bad, or no matter how average, there's always something that you can take away, whether it's the silver lining in a bad situation or understanding the good things in the good situation. A winner's mindset, a successful person, always understands that there's something that can be learned from every single person they talk to, or every situation they're in. It just takes a level of reflection. The next thing the book talks about is that success is not a solo project. Success is not a solo project. Going back to leveraging, you can never do anything by yourself, and if you do, it's going to take you an extreme longer amount of time. The average person has about $60,000 in the bank account at about 50 years old. But the people who manage to leverage a team, right, can make millions, right? Together, everybody achieves more. Even the most successful people in the world who might look solo, for example, back when Steve Jobs was creating Apple, he had his right-hand man that he was working with as well, his Wozniak. Alright, so there's always going to be a bunch of people working on the project together. There never is one single man. There might be a single person who's the image of the company, an image of the business, but whenever it comes to moving, whenever it comes to basically generating an income, there's always going to be multiple parts. And you need to learn to leverage other people as well as yourself and have a meaningful trade and exchange in order to basically fast track your journey towards success. The next thing that it talks about is networking, building relationships, right? The most successful people have the largest networks. Your network is your net worth. So you want to look towards expanding that. Learn to build relationships quickly and break them very slow. He talks about keeping in touch with people at maximum 2 years. Don't let people fall out. You never know when you're able to basically utilize a relationship that you've developed both ways. And favors are something that are forever valuable. So you can always utilize them, especially if you have a large network. But also be careful with the people that you network with. They talk about how there are a lot of people who you want to stay away from. Stay away from people who don't have what you want, right? Don't have what you want, don't have a necessary, aren't able to basically help you in getting towards successful. You always want to stay away from the people that are going to take you away from your goals, right? Understand that there is a law of association involved. You are the product of your environment. So if you hang out with 4 people who are homeless, you're going to be the 5th. If you hang out with 4 millionaires, you're going to be the 5th. Understand who you spend your time with, but make sure you develop relationships, are ever growing, and let them break very slowly. The next thing to talk about is that money is a seed. Money is a seed. It is there to grow more. A lot of people, too many people in fact, think money in the bank makes you money. And unless it's a high interest, cash actually does nothing for you. People view money, and successful people specifically, as a means to create more. They either put it into more assets, put into more investments. Money is there to create more. It's there to grow. It's there like a seed, right? Whatever you cultivate is what it's going to harvest. It's not something that you just want sitting doing nothing for you. In fact, the most successful people in the world don't have the most money in the bank account, but they have the most accumulated assets. And an asset is anything that puts more money into your pocket. So their money is always in things that are going to generate them more. Money is a seed, of course, so it's never going to just sit there and do nothing for you. And that's a lot of things that a poor mindset, people who don't have this necessarily money-oriented mindset, they think $1,000 in the bank is going to just turn into $1 million. No, you need to do something with it. With your time, invest your assets into more assets, whether it's your time or your money. The next thing is focus on the important, procrastinate the rest. A lot of people think procrastination involves basically putting off anything that's urgent or important. And this book basically flips it on its head. Procrastinating is putting off anything that you're supposed to do or want to do. So he talks about basically do the important, do the urgent, procrastinate the rest. So anything that's unproductive, flip the script, right? You want to procrastinate anything that is unproductive. Put it on the back burner, right? Procrastinate it with the things that you have to do. I thought it was a very interesting and funny way to put it, whereas most people would view the other way. The final thing that the thing talks about is that when it comes to the ideal first business, if you're not a person who's already, basically born into success or experienced a decent amount of success yourself, where can you go in order to basically develop an income and start moving towards the business mindset, start having the opportunity to be in a vehicle that can make you money? Well, surprisingly, there are a lot about there. The ideal first business would be something that's low risk, high reward, is scalable so you can make as much money as you want. He says e-commerce specifically, network marketing, all these types of things, there are a lot of opportunities out there that are basically can be built on your work ethic versus your money first. You just have to look, you do have to take a chance. But he does talk about when there's low risk, that means that you have to put a higher amount of effort in order for it to become successful. So that's pretty much it with Quick Notes with Chris. That's the 1 Minute Millionaire by Robert G. Allen and Mark Victor Hansen. But don't stop there. Keep looking to improve yourself. There are other videos on the channel that you can look at. Like, comment, subscribe, and keep basically striving to put yourself in a better position for success. I'll see you in the next one.